Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. Download your starter guide so you can discover and master this amazing deck, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to December. That's it, folks. We are at the end of the year. We've arrived. Every year, it feels so special to start and to go through it and then to wrap it up. It always has an element of nostalgia. So I want to just take a moment to say thank you so much for being with me throughout the year and throughout the years. And if you're new here, then stay tuned because Lenormand is really special. So we are in December, and as usual, we are going to look at your astro clock cards, and then we're going to do the monthly forecast with the portrait using a different deck. And on this note, stay tuned for your astro clocks. They are going to come out. They are very popular and they're always in demand. So these are in the works, and you will know as soon as they're out. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries. We have your December cards from your astro clock. These are the Fox, Clouds, and Bird. They are a little bit challenging. If you want to head back to your astro clock and have a look through the year, you'll see that this is one of the more challenging months for you this year. At the same time, Aries, they're not very dramatic. The Clouds is a little bit challenging, and the Fox has a clever side. Now, the Bird is also a bit challenging, especially when there are other negative cards next to it. It sort of brings out the anxious aspect of the Bird. But otherwise, it is a card of conversations. And so looking at the Fox, Clouds, and Bird all together, you may need to be careful about a certain conversation and how you address it, how you approach it with a person. There can also be some tension with another person. There could be a somewhat difficult conversation, but the Fox is quite clever, and it's certainly going to ask you to balance out how much you say, how much you speak with listening. So clearly there is something here that needs to be figured out. There needs to be something that is ironed out, and there is a bit of tension here that needs to be worked through. So we're going to put these cards aside, and we are going to draw your astro clock card, your portrait cards, and we are going to learn more about these three and also get other messages for your month. Okay, Aries, here is your portrait, and there's a lot of parallels between the portrait cards and the cards in your astro clock. For one, we have the mouse at the top here, and it aligns well with the clouds. We have the Bird in both sets of cards, and we have the Fox and Snake, which have a lot in common. But what's really nice about your portrait is how bright and positive it is. So it's going to overturn the challenges that we see in the astro clock. For starters, we have the key right in the middle, and the key is one of the brightest cards of the deck. And on top of this, we have the beautiful Clover and the beautiful Sun. These are three of the brightest cards of the deck. And really the key in a central position and the Sun in the bottom line, it's really going to help overcome whatever challenges you are going to go through. So starting with this important first line, we have the mouse with the key and snake. So the mouse is a challenge, a problem. As your cover card, you could be skeptical about something, Aries. Maybe you're having doubts. You could also be struggling. But the key is really great for overcoming challenges. And it's very clear that you're going to find a solution. Now, what's interesting about the snake is that it can mean a couple of things, and it's not necessarily negative, especially with a bright card like the key, and there's also the sun. So the key and snake is very good at finding solutions, and it's very good at being focused on the goal. And it's also a combination that tells us that you're going to find a way. You're going to find a way around the problem. You are going to get what you want, and probably in an indirect way. You see, the snake is very good at being tactful and diplomatic, just like the fox, but it has a sharper edge to it. It's a bit smarter, shall we say, and it can be a bit more mean, and it has the indirect aspect to it. So it's very clear, Aries, that you are going to find a solution, that you're going to get around an obstacle, and you're going to get what you want. Another thing is that you might want to keep things to yourself and stay silent, and this very much aligns with what we saw in the astro clock cards. Now, the mountain with the key and bird, This can also mean a couple of different possibilities because of the mountain. It could represent an obstacle which clearly you overcome. The thing about the bird and key is that this is about asking questions and having a conversation. So you want to communicate to get the answers that you're after. And this is going to help you overcome challenges. But also, Aries, the mountain is a card of travel and places abroad. So if you're going somewhere, even if not in a different country or even a different city, if you're going places, it could provide you with answers. So this could also be encouraged. Now, the mouse with the stork and bird, this too calls for a conversation. And the thing about the mouse here is that you could have been hesitating, wobbling, and just not being clear about how to move forward. But the stork is very clear in telling you to take an action, Aries, because you don't want to stay stuck in this. So the action here is the bird, which is a conversation, which we saw already a couple of times. So speak up, speak out, and take some initiative to get your questions answered. Here's a very beautiful row, the clover, key, and child, along with the middle column. It's a very, very bright line. The child is a card of beginnings, first steps, and things starting. And with the clover and key, it clearly points to a very successful new beginning. It's possible, Aries, that you had been hesitating about this, or maybe you're waiting for the right time or waiting on the opportunity to materialize. But it does, and it unlocks doors, and it's very, very exciting. Now, the mountain with the sun and snake, this is another bright line. The sun with the mountain can point to vacations or going places like a seaside or, somewhere sunny. And the thing about the snake is that you could be going off on your own or maybe not telling others about it. And of course, if you're not traveling, this combination is really good at suggesting overcoming obstacles and achieving something. And because the mountain is elevated and it can suggest like reaching the top and things like that, you could achieve something quite significant, Aries. Again, the snake advises you to be more discreet about it and maybe not share with everyone. And also, Aries, if you're going off on your own, or you want space for yourself, it's a good time to take time out. The mouse with the clover and mountain is similar. There's like a mirror between the clover and sun, and also potentially the mouse and snake. The difference is the order of the cards. But again, we're seeing some very good prospects in another location, possibly online, and also for overcoming obstacles. And something else, Aries, because the mountain is at the end of the line here, it can have that blockage element. The clover, in this sense, suggests that it's for a good reason. So don't rush. The green light is going to come through. We see it with the key. And like we said just a minute ago, the stork, key, and sun, this is a very bright line all around success, healing, achievement, breakthroughs, opportunities, all of it. The stork and key certainly kicks things off. This is definitely the green light, the go ahead. And with the sun here, it's very much aligned with your goals and achievements and wish fulfillment. So this is a very beautiful message. Now, the bird with the child and snake is another confirmation of a new beginning. The thing about the bird being before the snake is that you want to at least say less and listen more. And you might even withhold from certain people what you're up to. You might also find that you don't need to speak so much anymore. If you've said what you had to say, it's now time to move on. But the bird and child can also suggest the green light or the announcement or the news or the interaction or communication that moves you in this new beginning. The snake is in a really interesting position, Aries. It's really at the gathering spot, or what I call the gathering spot of the portrait. It collects everything here in the bottom right-hand corner. And remember, that's because we read from left to right normally. And so the snake in this position is really interesting because we have all of these bright cards here, and then you sort of move off in this quiet energy. It's like you have a certain strength, an inner strength, and you have a strong sense of confidence in yourself. And at the same time, Aries, there's definitely some things you want to keep to yourself. There's definitely some things you want to be discreet about, but you're moving on regardless. So these are some really, really bright cards. Unlike the Astro Clock cards, which are mostly a bit tense, the portrait is very strong and positive. It brings answers, solutions, successes, the green light and the message to go ahead. You could also be traveling, and it's very clear that you're moving into something new and quite exciting. Now, I'm not really seeing relationships as such, not personal, not professional, not home related. It seems to be really focused on you, a piece of news or some input that helps you move forward. So I would say focus on yourself and your goals. Be reliant on yourself, Aries. It's a great month for being resourceful. Take the time that you need, move forward in this direction, and, drop some things, leave them behind you, because what's ahead is more exciting. So a very beautiful set of cards. It's a lovely way to wrap up the year despite your Astro Clock cards, Aries. I certainly look forward to your thoughts about this, your feedback. If you're willing to share, leave me a comment or two. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you as always for tuning in. And again, stay tuned for the upcoming annual forecasts. Until next time, thank you for watching and take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, welcome to your December forecast. We have your cards from your Astro Clock for the month of December. You might want to go back and have a look through your Astro Clock to get this overview of the year. And you'll notice that December is one of the triplets that has one of the challenging cards. It's the mouse. At the same time, Taurus, the mouse is really not so dramatic. It is a little bit challenging. And certainly with the anchor, it helps you overcome any challenges here. The anchor is also a really good card at creating boundaries. So if there is someone or something that is annoying you or that is draining you or taking away from you in whatever way, then the anchor is very good at putting a stop at this. The Tower is a card of the long term and longevity. So this is very good for long-term security. And you certainly want to overcome your doubts, close your gaps, take care of whatever issues that are brought up with the mouse in order to create the solid foundation for the longer term. And also, Taurus, the Tower is a card that often refers to organizations, official things, and places like that. And so maybe you're following through on something and it has been dragging, but you want to stick with this and you want to be patient at least a while longer. So these cards can take on a few different possibilities. We're going to set them aside and we're going to draw your portrait cards to see what else is in store for you this month. Okay, Taurus, here is your portrait, and it's a little bit different from what we see in the Astro Clock cards. We do have a couple of common elements. The cross possibly with the Tower and anchor, and the snake and whip with the mouse. So we do see a couple of challenging elements here as well. Now, the portrait is very clear about focusing on a relationship. We have both the man and the woman, and we have the ring. So it's clear that the issue or what you need to be patient with and these boundaries that we see in your Astro Clock cards are very likely to be in the context of a relationship. So let's get into these lines here. We have the Stork as your cover card, and this is a great card for being active and for taking initiative. With the Woman and Snake, you could be moving on from someone or moving away from a person. And we are going to see, Taurus, with other lines that there are some challenges in a relationship. In the second diagonal, we have the Whip and Cross on either side of the Woman. And so this could be a bit of a difficulty here. There could be a confrontation, an argument. There can also be a sense of blame with the relationship. And this could be a little bit painful because of the cross. Now, at the top, we have the Child, which is a clear message of a new beginning. And with the Stork here, you could be assessing whether you move on and let go of this person. When we look at the bottom line, we see that you probably will, but the line before, we have the letter with the Woman and Ring. And so if we were just looking at the middle row, it might have suggested a relationship or a commitment or a contract or an agreement of sorts. And so there can be a proposal, or maybe you're contemplating whether you stick with this person or not. But I have to say, Taurus, that on balance, the portrait is suggesting that you won't. We have the whip and snake on either side of the man. And these are some pretty strong cards that suggest separation and parting. We also saw it in the second diagonal. And also we're going to see in the right-hand side column that it's likely that you move in a different direction. So very strong cards here that suggest letting go of a person. I think things could get a little bit toxic and difficult between you and this person. So it might be a good time to let go, at least for a while. The stork with the letter and whip. Now, this T crosses the middle row with the letter, and we suggested this is a contract or a proposal, and the whip is very clear at suggesting that you turn it down. So this is another clear suggestion here, Taurus, for you, that maybe you're contemplating some kind of collaboration with someone, but with the whip, it's very likely that you turn it down and that you move on from this person. Instead, we have the child with the woman and man, and this can point to a new relationship. So you could make a choice here between two people or two options. And this actually aligns very well with the second diagonal, because the cross is a card of tests and assessment, and it is a card that calls for weighing things out. And the cross with the ring and snake is very much about moving away from a relationship. So you assess the situation and you make a decision to let go. I have to say, Taurus, that this is looking like a difficult decision. This is not easy. There could be a lot that goes into this, emotionally or in other ways, but you do make a choice to move on, and it's likely that you opt for one connection or another, or one invitation or proposal or opportunity over another. Now, after looking at this portrait, I think it actually aligns well with your Astro Clock cards, because the mouse, this challenging bit, and then we have the cross and tower, which is very much about this contemplation and this assessment situation. The tower is also a quieter card, and the anchor is very good with boundaries, like we said. So you want to do what's best for you. You want to take your time with the decision, but you have to make a decision. And even if it's not the easiest of decisions, you have to make it and move on. So you have options, you have an opportunity, and you could be letting go of something. Now, the relationship could be personal, or it could be in another context. In terms of a personal relationship, you could be moving on from someone. These sorts of cards tend to be always a bit more difficult with a relationship because of the emotions. It can be also in another context. Maybe it's a job, for example, where you have a job, you get a new job, you get a contract, and so you decide to leave your job. It could be in relation to a customer or someone else you collaborate with or you do something with, and you decide you're going to move on and choose a different scenario or a different opportunity moving forward. Again, this is not the easiest of decisions. I would suggest taking your time with it, Taurus, but still within the month you're going to act on it. So quite a load, I would say. I look forward to your thoughts about this, Taurus, how you resonated with them. What was this decision? How did it involve a relationship? And what did you end up doing? I'd be really interested to know if you're willing to share. So quite a handful really to wrap up the year with. Again, Taurus, stay tuned for your Astro Clocks and the upcoming forecast as we turn the page on the year. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. And also, let me say thank you for sticking around, and I hope you'll stick with me in the coming forecast. Until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your December forecast. Here we are at the end of the year, and we have the Rider, the Moon, and the Scythe. Now, this is an interesting triplet. It's mainly neutral. It can be exciting, and that's because the Scythe is quite sharp. And when we see it next to the Rider mainly, it points to a change of direction. Now, the Moon here can mean a couple of things. It can mean a certain path or direction that has been unfolding. And with the Scythe, you could cancel it or you could change direction. And the moon could also be an offer or an invitation, especially with the rider, which is a messenger, and with the scythe here, it can either mean that it comes suddenly, but my feeling, Gemini, is that you're probably going to say no or cancel. So let's put these cards aside and let's see what else we get about them and what other suggestions we get for your month. Okay, Gemini, here is your portrait. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of alignment with your astro cards. We have the rider in both and the scythe in both. And just from an overview of the portrait, there's quite a lot of alignment. So we have the child right in the middle, and the child is a card of anything new. And this makes sense with what we suggested here because the change and there's a new beginning. You could cancel something or it could be a sudden opportunity. So all these possibilities applies, and it's very likely that they work together because anything new comes with a change or an ending. We have the rider as your cover card, which is quite exciting. The rider is great for being active, for being proactive. So it sounds like you're going to be pursuing some new avenues this month, Gemini, and you certainly want to take this as advice. With the child and garden, you could be exploring new places, new people, new environments. And what environment specifically the garden is quite flexible. It could be a new social environment, a new marketplace. It could be a new job or maybe a new social environment. So it's definitely an encouragement to explore these new people and places. The tree with the child and man points to a new relationship that is growing, and it looks pretty nice and calm. You could also be moving into a new direction thanks to this person. So who exactly this man is and what kind of role he plays in your situation is flexible, but we certainly see the support either in a new relationship or a new situation. The rider, scythe, and man, this is quite aligned because the scythe is always sharp. Now, the rider and scythe, like I suggested here, points to a change of direction. And with the man, there can be some changes with this person or through this person. But what's also possible, Gemini, is that you separate from a person. So there could be a new relationship, but also moving on from another one, or maybe changing your approach in general. And like we said, this scythe can also be an element of something sudden, something coming up unexpectedly. And maybe this gentleman here or this person or whoever this person is really is bringing this new opportunity that may be unexpected. Now, the mouse with the child and bird, this one is a little bit more challenging. We have both the mouse and bird on either side of the child. The bird is typically neutral, but the mouse is typically challenging. And when the bird comes with a more challenging card, it does have a more negative side, which is usually being anxious or nervous or, a little bit all over the place. Now, the thing about being on either side of the child is that it can suggest that this new beginning causes you some nervousness, some anxiety, and also there could be a few missteps as you move forward. There can be some issues or little problems here that you deal with as you move into this new beginning. So maybe not the smoothest of starts, but we certainly see that there is a fresh start. And this probably comes because it is sudden. There, the scythe element here, it causes this unexpected, or maybe it's a bit sudden, so it causes this nervousness and anxiousness around it, which makes sense. Now, the tree with the stork and garden is lovely for activity, for get-togethers, for gatherings. The tree and stork is also lovely for a promotion, for improvements and positive changes. The thing about the tree is that because it is deeply rooted and settled, the element of stork on the tree is more about growth and expansion. So it's another message for you to explore these people and places and to go out and do things and see what's up there. The rider with the mouse and tree does bring a bit of a challenge here because of the mouse. The message really is to slow down. Because the mouse causes some bumps to the rider, it's like it's going to slow you down. But on top of this, we have the tree, which is also a slow card. So instead of trying to make things happen too quickly, reacting to this news or this change and this new beginning, It's best not to be reactive, Gemini, because that's going to cause you some issues. Instead, see if you slow down, and then when you're prepared, you make the change. The Scythe with the Child and Stork definitely suggests a sudden change, and there is also a sudden activity and opportunity. And like we said, this is the element that could sort of catch you by surprise, or perhaps it comes across as something urgent and you're trying to respond to it, and that causes a few bumps. I have to say though, Gemini, that the mouse and even the bird, they're really not so challenging. It's really not a big deal, the issues that they bring, but just take their advice and slow down a little bit. The Man with the Bird and Garden, this is very clearly a meeting and a conversation. This could be something like an exciting meeting, or maybe it makes you nervous to meet this person. It could also be something like an interview or any kind of interaction that is ahead for you with this person. So these are some pretty exciting cards, Gemini. It's pretty clear what's going on here. There's a new relationship or a new opportunity and a new environment. And it's about responding to the opportunity to explore it and seeing what it carries. I have to say though, Gemini, that the outcome of this is not really coming into the cards, except the likely possibility that it opens up a new opportunity. So it's about exploring what's in there. Now, my feeling is that the cards are not really romantic. We're not seeing the warmer messages. We're not seeing the flowers, the hearts, the clover, the ring. We're not really seeing the more feeling or personal cards. We're seeing this new beginning and the activity around it that involves meeting this person or going out and networking in general. So that's my feeling, that it's more about your work, your projects. But of course, we can read the cards for any context. And so if it's about a more personal relationship, then you could indeed meet someone, or perhaps there's a new chapter with someone you already know and an opportunity to meet with this person. So it sounds exciting anyway, and in any context. Be prepared to respond. Again, don't be reactive. See if you can take your time a little bit to adjust and to make it seem more natural, so you're more comfortable and you're more at ease in this new environment, this new relationship or opportunity. So that's a lovely wrapping up the year kind of reading. We see the beginning. You could be turning the page already into the new year. Let me know how it plays out for you, Gemini. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. And be sure to stay tuned for the Astro Clocks. They're going to come out soon, and we're going to turn the page into 2026. How exciting. So let me take this opportunity to thank you, Gemini, for hanging out with me, and I hope you will continue to do so in the coming months. Very best of luck with the end of the year. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your monthly December reading. Here we are at the end of the year. I hope you're excited about the wrapping up and the turning the page as I am. Stay tuned for our Astro Clocks. They are coming out soon, as they have for the past few years. So welcome, Cancer, to December. We have your cards from your Astro Clock, and we have some very beautiful cards here, mainly because of the Sun, which is one of the brightest cards of the deck. And we see the Sun with the letter and book, and this is a specific combination, at least as far as I'm concerned, that points to some very exciting and important news, and it can be coming quite quickly. Obviously with the Sun, it points to very positive news. So what this is about exactly, we don't see from these cards, but it certainly could answer a wish or suggest healing or an opportunity. So we are going to put these cards aside, and we are going to draw your portrait to see what else we get about them, and also what messages we get for your month. Okay, Cancer, here is your portrait, and there is a lot of alignment with your Astro Clock cards. It's quite a coincidence that we have the letter and book right next to each other, as we have them in the Astro Clock cards. And we don't have the Sun, but we do have the key, clover, flowers, and even the moon, and these are some really bright cards, especially the key, clover, and flowers. They are very strongly positive. Now, the moon with the stork and rider is also very, very much aligned with the letter book twice. This is a combination of an offer and an invitation. The rider is also a messenger card. it's not just about activity and progress, but it's also a messenger. So it does suggest news as well. And on top of this, the moon with any news card, even the book, is a combination of offers and invitations. And the thing about the Stork is that it's really emphasizing this because it is a card of activity and action. So it opens up this opportunity. So very tight alignment here. The book with the Stork and flowers, this is also beautiful because the flowers is beautiful card, a card of healing, success, all around well-being, really. And I'm really looking at the book and Stork here. There is an opening up. So initially, I thought that because the book is at the end of the line, it might be that there isn't a full revelation of what's ahead yet. But in the portrait, we do have a better confirmation of this. It looks like something is going to be revealed, an opportunity is going to open up, and it sounds to be really exciting. Same here, we have the moon, scythe, and flowers. Now, the scythe is usually a card of severance and breakoffs and separations, but it is also a card of something sudden. So with the moon and letter, I would have suggested that it could be a change or turning down an offer and things like that. But with the flowers on the other side of the scythe, there is an element of release and relief, and it creates that sense of happy surprise and well-being. So this is a very welcome revelation, and it certainly adds to the Stork, which has that action of opening up. The letter with the Stork and clover, again, similar. There's the news, there's feedback, there is the green light, and it's very good news. It's certainly aligned with what you want. It answers a wish. Some very beautiful cards, and yet another confirmation. So we're having the same message like all throughout here. It's quite concentrated in terms of this same meaning being emphasized over and over. And I have to say, Cancer, this is not frequent because you can say it in 3 cards, and here we're saying it in 9 cards. The book with key and rider is, again, some very beautiful opening opportunity. There's some good news. There's the green light, and there is an unlocking. So again, this unlocking, whereas initially we could have thought that the book might suggest that it's not fully opened yet, in the portrait, we have a lot of cards that should suggest that it's going to open up. The full revelation is going to come through. You're going to get all the info that you need, all the feedback that you want. The book and key is definitely finding solutions. It's great for opportunities. And with the rider, it's great for moving forward and getting the feedback that you want. So lovely for an opportunity. The moon with the letter and book is almost identical to the sun, letter and book. And I have to say there is some kind of sign that is coming through the sun and moon. You know, the sun and moon can point to a love relationship because of the archetypal sun and moon connection, but the moon can suggest an invitation. It can emphasize this a bit more, whereas the sun can be about that bright, all-around happiness. So very similar, really suggesting and emphasizing this positive news and this lovely invitation, if that's what specifically it is for you. The scythe with the stork and key, similar. There's like a breakthrough and there's a change, and it's a happy change. So definitely unlocking an opportunity, breaking through. And if you were feeling stuck, Cancer, in any way, then this could definitely be a month for liberation. So very exciting. And to top it off, we have the beautiful flowers, clover and rider. This is a very bright combination here. It's the brightest in the portrait. This is all around healing, success, wish fulfillment, and positive changes and moving ahead. So you definitely get the green light. The change that you want materializes. The invitation that you want materializes. The feedback that you were waiting on comes through. The opportunity opens up. Whatever it is for you specifically, it is coming through for you this month, Cancer. And the cards are so lovely. They are also oriented towards action and initiative and being proactive. So once you get the news, or as soon as you can, Cancer, you want to act on it. So this is not about sleeping on it or thinking about it or planning it. We see the action cards emphasized in your portrait strongly. So you're able to act on it as soon as you get it, or as soon as it makes sense, and likely within the month. Now, I have to say, Cancer, that in terms of a theme, the cards are not really specific. or not specific at all, actually. We just see the news, the action, and all of that good stuff. But in terms of the content of the news or what the news is about, like the theme, the area, it could be about work, it could be about a relationship, it could be about anything really. We're not really seeing this in the cards. So you let me know, Cancer, in what context you got this good news, and if you're hopefully able to act on it soon enough, or at least within the month. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and your feedback. Beautiful cards for the end of the year. Very best of luck with this. Very best of luck with wrapping up the year, Cancer. Stay tuned for the upcoming Astro Clocks, as I said, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being with me all throughout these months, and I hope you will continue to do so. Again, thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, welcome to your December forecast. How exciting that we're at the end of the year. I hope you feel this way and are looking forward to 2026. Be sure to stay tuned to your Astro Clock. They're coming out soon, and we're going to turn the page into the new year, as we have done for several years so far. So Leo, welcome to December. These are your last triplet from your 2025 Astro Clock, and we have a couple of challenging cards figuring together. If you go back to your 2025 Astro Clock, you will see that December is one of the more challenging months for you this year. So what is going on? We have the clouds with the whip and the house. Now the whip is quite a challenging card, and with the clouds, it does add to it, or they sort of, work together to dramatize a little bit the situation. So what we're seeing here is a conflict, but there is a silver lining. And that is that the clouds, being a card of confusion, it muddies things, is actually helped by the whip, because the whip cracks things, and it's kind of, it's not as sharp as the scythe, but it's quite good at, throwing things out of this state of stuckness. And the clouds is one of those states, right, where it's not clear what's going on. There could be this tension. So the whip really helps, break this up. And we see it with the house. The house is usually home, family, a space, an environment, a group of people, like your team on the job and places like that. And so this conflict or this challenge in this situation happens within this environment. So it's also important with this message, Leo, to bring things out into the open. And that's where I was saying that the whip really helps, shake up the clouds a little bit. So instead of staying stuck in your mind, stressing out about it, it's better to bring it out. And this can cause a bit of conflict, could cause some upset or some issues, but it's better than staying stuck in this situation. So let's put these cards aside and let's draw your portrait to see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Leo, here is your portrait, and we're seeing some additional messages. The scythe showed up, and I just had that intuition that it would be a similar energy, so that's helpful. And we have the mouse, which is sort of similar to the clouds. It brings some issues. They're not very dramatic. And in terms of the house, I really think this aligns with the woman, which is a person card. The house tends to represent people who are closer around you. Now, what's interesting is the mountain in the middle. The mountain is a card with a few different meanings. It can point to an obstacle, which I think is likely in view of the Astro Clock cards, but it is also a card that represents a place that's far away. It could be traveling abroad or a location that's not close to where you are. So let's put these lines together and see what we come out with. The anchor is your cover card, and the anchor is quite lovely for helping you stand strong. So it sounds like whatever issues happen around you, you just have a strong sense of confidence and you're not really moved by it. And it's certainly advice to you, Leo. So remember this. Now with the mountain and letter, this is a clear combination for having a base abroad. It's like that foothold or that anchor you have abroad or in another place. And with the letter, there is some news or exchange or interaction or communication. So you could hear from someone who's in another place, and it could be a challenging piece of news. Now, the key with the mountain and mouse, this is an interesting line because we have the mouse after the key. The key is a very bright card. It brings answers, solutions, and it does suggest opportunities. And you could be looking for opportunities in another location, Leo, or perhaps trying to broaden your horizon, trying to expand on what you are right now. But I have to say, with the Mountain and Mouse, you could meet with some challenges. So something could come up as you try to explore, or again, the news could be challenging, or there is this conflict or this situation that comes up. Now, here's some more cards in this direction. We have the Anchor, Woman, and Mouse, and this could be a challenge episode or some issues that come up with this woman. Now, the Anchor here can mean that you have healthy boundaries and that you stand your ground in the face of this. I want to say, though, Leo, that the Mouse is not very dramatic. It is not nearly as dramatic as the Whip. So there can be a range here of how easy it is to deal with or how challenging it is. It sort of depends on your situation. But something else that comes to my mind, Leo, is this. The Woman and Mouse could be a reference to someone who's struggling with something. So it's not that there's an issue between you and this person, but it can be that this person has a problem. And in this context, the Anchor is a support. So you can be this person's anchor. You could be like their support. They could be going through the troubles that we see here as well. So just keep in mind that there are possibilities. Now, the book with the Mountain and Fish, this could be quite exciting for a potential job or a potential opportunity, maybe online or in that different location. If you read, write, teach, research, this could be highlighted as well, but this is kind of more specific. It could apply though. And the Mountain being sometimes a card of location, it could be a place that you do not know of yet, or perhaps the opportunity itself is still in the works. So again, tying into this potential or this opportunity that you could be exploring, it sounds, Leo, that maybe you're looking at options or opportunities in another location or somewhere, and you're trying to see if it could materialize. And this could be an opportunity of work, because the Fish is mainly a card of money and business. Now, the key with the Scythe and Letter, this is great for news. It's great for a breakthrough, and it's also great for bringing things out into the open. So in alignment with this, although not challenging like this is a lovely combination for a breakthrough, getting news, expressing. So really cutting through any limitations. The Anchor with the Book and Key is great for finding answers, finding solutions. It seems to me, Leo, that you're on a bit of a quest, or you're on some kind of pursuit where you're trying to get to something. You could be exploring options. You could be going after opportunities, considering alternatives and things like that. So this is an encouraging line. I would just suggest, Leo, that you make sure you double check your information, your facts, and you make sure you are aware of everything. Because it does sound like there are some potential challenges. Not everything is, clear. There can be some conflicts potentially and things like that. And I know that I'm saying a few different things here. So I'm just taking the lines in turn. And when we get to the end, we'll put together the whole thing. And also we'll consider a few different scenarios. So the Woman with the Mountain and Scythe, she could be the one based abroad. And with the Scythe, there is a breakthrough, definitely getting past any obstacles. And also she could come through. So maybe she was slow to respond, or, she wasn't coming around. Maybe there were challenges that were in the way, but it sounds like there is news and it breaks through, and you've got, an answer, or at least some leads here to move forward with. Now, the Mouse with the Fish and Letter, well, the Fish and Letter is nice for an offer, but the Mouse with the Fish suggests that there is a money issue. There can be money waste, money lost. That is possible, but I'm also thinking that in the context of an opportunity, like if you're exploring a job or a business or a customer, things like that, the money might not be as good as you would like. And this could be part of the struggle. It could be part of the conflict, or maybe something that you're negotiating. So overall, your portrait is not as challenging as the Whip. The Whip can be a bit dramatic, and maybe the Whip is not a big deal. Maybe it was just a placeholder for suggesting something a bit challenging, you know, because all of the other cards were taken up in the astro clock. So I did say that there's a few different scenarios, and there are. So looking at the work opportunity scenario, you could be contemplating some opportunities elsewhere and you're trying to figure it out. There could have been a delay, or maybe this person wasn't coming around. Maybe there were challenges or problems that were in the way. But this person does come through and there is some kind of offer, or at least a lead. However, Leo, it might not be as good as you'd like it to be because of the mouse. And I also have to wonder if this triplet here might suggest that you end up turning it down. I'm just suggesting. That's up to you, of course. Now, another scenario is that you could be working through a situation with a person. And here we also have two options. So it sort of forks into two options. The issue could be personal with this person, where maybe you're not getting along. There needs to be a clearing of the air, like we saw in your astro clock cards. There needs to be communication, even if it's not the smoothest of communications, Leo. It's important to bring things out into the open and have a conversation. And it sounds like you can take it from there. And the other option with a relationship situation is if this person has problems, or this person is going through some difficulties, or maybe you're the one going through some difficulties and then you're trying to get support. But I feel that you're the support because the anchor is your cover card. I feel it's more the other person who's going through challenges. And here it's really about how you can manage helping them, what you need to do to help them. Maybe you need to find a way to communicate with them. Maybe they're far away. And all of those details could be the case for you. So in all, the portrait is a bit more on the neutral side, with the bright cards and challenging aspects sort of balancing themselves out. And I want to say also, Leo, that the focus is going to be on where you stand, also standing your ground, and also being strong in the face of situations. And in terms of an opportunity, I don't think you should compromise. Now, I can't pass this judgment for you, but I feel that with these cards and the mouse here and the anchor being strong and the mountain also supporting this element of boundary, and also the house is a good card for boundaries, by the way. So my feeling is if this opportunity is not landing for you, it's not really working out, then it might be better to turn it down. But you be the judge of that. So let me know what you make of this, Leo. It sounds a bit busy for you this end of year. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback as always. Very best of luck with wrapping up the year. And I want to say thank you for hanging out with me all throughout. I hope you're going to continue to do so. Like I said, the astro clocks are in the works, so stay tuned. Very best of luck, and thank you again, Leo. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello Virgo, welcome to your monthly forecast. Here we are in December. We are at the end of the year. I hope you are excited about this and the change ahead. Stay tuned for the astro clocks. They are coming out soon. Virgo, welcome to December. We have your December cards from your 2025 astro clock. And this is the ship, fish, and coffin. The coffin is definitely an ending, so well timed for December. And the ship is a journey, and maybe a trip or a project. And with the fish, it could be something financial, or it could be something that you need to spend on. But the coffin is clearly pointing to an ending. So you could be wrapping up a project, or you might need to postpone going on a trip, maybe, saving some money and, postponing the purchase and the expense right now. So these are some interesting cards, very well aligned with the timing of the end of the year. They're not negative cards in and of themselves. We'll see what the portrait brings, but they are not negative cards. The coffin can be a bit of a, negative energy. It points to usually things like illness and feeling down and, things like that. Not the greatest of energies, but with these cards, especially in this order, it's like there's an ending, the end of a journey, completion. And I have to say on this note, it can be a successful thing. Like you could successfully have completed a project. So we're going to put these cards aside and we're going to draw the portrait to see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Virgo, here is your portrait. And as you can see, we've got the coffin in here and the road as well. So this is in good alignment with the Astro Clock cards. We also have a relationship aspect that comes through very clearly. The ring in the middle, the man, the dog, all of these are people and relationship cards. So you could be moving on from someone, or you could be going separate ways for the time being. Now, the Stork as your cover card, this is a card of change. So my feeling from the get-go is that you're the one who could be moving on or having to make a change. And we see it with the ring and cross. Now, here, it's about assessing your involvement in a relationship or in something. So the ring is often about relationships, but not necessarily. It could be a card of commitments, engagements, things that you're invested in, things that you're committed to for some time. And the cross is a card of tests, and it can be a little bit difficult and burdensome in this sense. So you could feel like you're not sure what to make of the relationship right now. You could be assessing how it feels, how you want to move forward. And also the cross can be a bit of a heavy burden card. So you could be carrying this relationship on your shoulders, and maybe you're thinking of moving on. And again, like I said, it's maybe not strictly a relationship with someone. It could be some kind of involvement. Now, the man, ring, and dog would suggest very clearly that it's a relationship, but there could also be several things happening at the same time. Now, the ring and dog normally suggests a love relationship growing out of a friendship, but I don't want to make this as a conclusion because it's not, Virgo, because we have some clear cards of change and parting, and we see the coffin twice overall. So this could be the relationship that you are thinking of, and maybe this person wants to take the relationship more seriously. Maybe you do, maybe both of you do, but I think with these lines here that we're going to get to in a bit, it's not the right time, or perhaps not at all. Now, the stork with the bear and dog, this points to activity, important activity with a friend. It can also be a reference to a boss, by the way, because the bear is a card of the senior and the dog is a card of the junior. And so there can be changes or activities in this relationship. You could also be pursuing growth. Maybe you're seeking a promotion. But again, in this context, I'm not so sure how much moves forward just yet. And also, Virgo, it would make sense, right? It's the end of the year, and maybe it's not the right time to begin such a step up. Now, the tree, ring, and coffin is very clear about an ending, or at least tapering something off, reducing it, or postponing some kind of situation, some kind of growth. The tree is also a card of growth, and with the relationship, it is about continuation. But the coffin points to putting things on hold or ending them. And the man with the road and cross, so here's a very clear combination that points to crossroads, like literally choices. And you could be making a choice or some decisions about this person and your relationship with them. They could also be the ones moving or going places. And so this decision about what you make of the relationship, what you make of this involvement, it could be mutual. The stork with the tree and man is quite a positive line. It's a peaceful line. It points to growth and progress with this person. And also the bear, ring, and road is exciting for being engaged and moving forward and committing to something that is quite significant. But we do have the coffin on the right-hand side and the road in the bottom. So these tend to be the gathering lines because we read from left to right. So again, things could have progressed and this could have been a good relationship, but it's possible that for the time being, at least, you need to slow down, put some things on hold, or maybe wrap up at least some aspects of this relationship. So the dog with the coffin and cross points to an ending, and it could be a significant one. And it is important also, Virgo, that you lighten up your load a little bit. So if this is permanent or temporary, December suggests that you want to slow down your involvement, you want to slow down your engagement in this relationship, and at least take a step back and take a break. There could also be traveling, movement, changes. Maybe you're going places, they're going places. We do have the ship, the stork, and the road. So it can be about, the physical situation or the circumstance that causes you and or them to slow down or put things on hold. So overall, the portrait is neutral, and it was my feeling also from the Astro Clock cards that the cards are neutral. We're not seeing some challenges as such in the relationship, but there is a need to slow down, put things on hold, wrap things up, or maybe postpone, at least for some time. And there could be a variety of reasons for this. The ones that we're seeing is that there could be a parting, like a change or a trip, quite in a literal sense, or perhaps you are assessing and need to slow down to see how you move forward. So it's a good time to assess, to take stock, to consider about where all this is going. It's also definitely a message to slow down and avoid rushing. And if you're planning to start anything, this is not the right time. The cards are aligned with December for you, Virgo, so don't start anything right now. Instead, use this time to take stock, to wrap things up, to slow down, and to postpone if possible. Now, in terms of personal relationships, these cards can take on a bit of a more challenging interpretation just because there's a more personal element to personal relationships. So in this sense, maybe you've got a hope to move this relationship forward, or maybe they do, but clearly in December, this is not the right time. And also, I have to suggest, because it's obvious in the cards, Virgo, that it might not really materialize. So you and or them might think about moving this friendship or connection into something more serious. I'm not so sure this is the right time to make it happen, or even at all. But still, the cards are generally peaceful. The energy is peaceful. It's a very clear focus on slowing down and taking some time out, postponing things and maybe stepping back. So let me know what you make of this, Virgo. Let me know who this person was, what context you felt these cards materialized for you. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and your feedback. Very best of luck with December. Thank you as always for tuning in. And also thank you for having been with me throughout these months. I hope you will continue to do so. Like I said, the Astro Clocks are coming out soon, so stay tuned and we'll take it up in the new year. Thank you again, Virgo. Very best of luck with the end of the year. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Libra. Welcome to your monthly forecast. Here we are in December. We are at the end of the year, and I hope you are excited about the change that is coming. Stay tuned for the Astro Clocks, Libra. They are coming out soon, and I hope you'll stick with me through them. So welcome to December, Libra. We have your Astro Clock cards for the month. We have the coffin, the ship, and the letter. Now, the fact that we have the ship after the coffin can mean that you were waiting for some time to get some news or to move ahead with a project. The letter can mean a couple of things here. It can point to news, but it could also point to administrative stuff that relates to your trip, if you're traveling, or to your projects. But certainly after a time when things were on hold or things were pending or you were waiting maybe for the right time, this month looks like it's the right time to kick off. So we're going to put these cards aside and we're going to see what other messages we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Libra, here is your portrait and it's looking really bright. We have the snake, which is a little bit tricky, but overall, these are some really bright cards and the snake does not necessarily have to be challenging. In the center, we have the anchor. This is very much a card for strength and confidence. And so seeing it in the center of your portrait, it definitely advises you to stay where you are, to stick with what you're doing and to be confident in yourself and your projects. Now, the bird at the top here is a card of communication, and it does have to do with you reaching out and taking initiative to interact, to ask questions, and to speak out. And the thing about the anchor with the snake is that the snake and bird are quite opposite. The snake is silent and the bird is vocal. So the fact that we have the bird on your cover card suggests that you're going to be on the more vocal side. At the same time, Libra, with the anchor and snake, this is a message for you to give things a chance and to not be quick to give up on things. And also, you might need to establish some boundaries. So maybe here you need to decide, who you discuss things with, who not. And you also want to be aware from others who might be envious or trying to get their way with you. Also notice that the bird works well with the letter. So again, we're seeing that there is an element of speaking out and communicating. Now, the fish with the anchor and garden is great for work, money, and business. The fish is the card of money, and with the anchor and garden, you could have a solid connection or involvement in a certain marketplace or in a certain environment. It could also be a good sign for your job and also be a message for you to stick with what you're doing. The cards are also great for overall security and making money. So it's great for your finances. Now, the bird, clover, and garden is also lovely for being part of this environment. The clover is a lucky card, and it definitely encourages you to get involved, to reach out, to network, and to be part of this whole exciting project or this exciting environment. The star with the anchor and stork is also beautiful for kicking things off and really pursuing your objectives. I would also say, Libra, that you want to be you want to really focus on your work, and also you don't want to compromise your goals or your path. So have confidence in yourself and move ahead with your very exciting projects. Now here we have the fish, dog, and snake. Now I have to say, Libra, that when it comes to relationships, which is represented by the dog, the snake tends to be tricky because it represents someone who is dishonest, deceptive, and it can mean someone who cheats and things like that. Now the thing about the fish earlier is that the focus is typically on money and finances. So what comes to my mind here, Libra, is that there may be people who are trying to cheat you, or there could be someone who's trying to borrow from you and things like that. I would avoid doing any of these things. I would remain conservative about, borrowing and lending money. And also remember that your anchor provides you with some kind of boundary, so be aware of this. And also, this could be a message of not sharing with others certain things that you're doing or some aspects about your money, your work, and your business. Again, be selective about who you communicate with and what you share with whom. Now, the bird, star, and fish is beautiful for finances. This is clearly an opportunity. I think it aligns well with the fish and letter, where you have an invitation or an opportunity, or maybe a job offer, maybe a customer, a collaboration. All of these things are possible. And the star being an all-around happy and wish fulfillment card, it delivers wonderful results. So very exciting for you financially and in work situations. The clover with the anchor and dog are great for relationships. Even though it T-crosses the bottom row, the clover here is very good at helping you see through any issues, and also it has a protective element. With the anchor, which we suggested is about boundaries, and when we T-cross it with the bottom row, it sounds like you are going to be able to create a healthy boundary around yourself and your money, your work, and whatever other area is in focus for you. And I think you're going to be able to see through people very easily. So I'm not concerned about anyone trying to work against you, Libra. If that is the case, you are definitely going to be able to neutralize them and put them in place. Now, the garden with the stork and snake is very much about being active and being involved, as we see with the garden and stork. At the same time, Libra, the snake can mean that you turn away or move away from a space, from a situation, or from certain people. And we do see the snake in common with the dog. So the people element here is emphasized when it comes to people. So again, you want to be cautious about who you're communicating with. And this is especially relevant when you are in a position to communicate, to network, to interact, and to be in an exchange situation with others. So it sounds like you're going to be part of a certain environment, a marketplace, and your task here is not only to further your goals, but also be aware that you need to be selective about who you share this with and who you interact with. So it's like the environment is a bit of a mixed bag, and your job here is to be selective and discerning. But in general, these are great cards for you pursuing your objectives, achieving goals, furthering your interests, increasing your income, and just moving ahead and crossing off these items on your list and going after the bigger things. So these are some really nice cards, Libra. They're great for your work, your money, your business. The people front is maybe not so great, but it sounds like it's part of the, it's part of the landscape, and it's about managing this. But you're definitely in a position for achievement. So don't let this environment prevent you from speaking out and doing your thing. As long as you're discerning and selective, you're going to be fine. I want to add, Libra, that we're not seeing so much the travel element in your portrait. So the ship is more probably aligned with your goals, like with the fish and garden and star. Now, in case this is about travel, I have to say that the anchor might suggest that you don't travel just yet. And in this context, the coffin and ship might in fact mean that you delay or postpone any such plans. So see how it works out with your schedule and the overall energy of your month, Libra, so that you make a good decision overall. So very best of luck with this. Let me know how it plays out and what these cards meant for you. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. And again, Libra, look forward to your Astro Clock. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being with me all throughout, and I hope you will continue to be in the coming months. Again, very best of luck, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to December. Here we are at the end of the year. I hope you're excited about the end of the year and the beginning of the new one and looking forward to the change. I usually am. I am this year, and I have been in the previous years as well. Here we are with your December cards, Scorpio, and these are challenging cards. If you head back to your 2025 Astro Clock, you will see that December is one that was dealt these somewhat challenging cards. So we have the Clouds, Mouse, and Snake. And this is a pretty toxic energy in general. The clouds can mean that it's more psychological and maybe that you're going through some inner conflicts and some issues like that. But it can also be with other people, or it could just be the general atmosphere. The thing about the snake at the end of the line is that you might need to move away from something that is draining you, that is not working out for you. And there could also be toxic characters, like I said. There could be people who cheat and deceive and things like that. And so it could be quite toxic, and it's going to be your goal to really purge this out of your life. And it's pretty good timing for this. So before you move on to the new year, you might want to consider what is eating away at you, what is compromising you, what is poisoning your mindset and your space and things like that, and see if you can purge it. So this is just in general. Let's draw your portrait cards. Let's see what else we get about these three and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Scorpio, here is your portrait, and I'm very happy to see a really positive portrait. There's plenty of beautiful cards. The mountain is potentially challenging. It can be a card of blockages and obstacle, but certainly the rest of the cards are either neutral or bright, and they're also strong and powerful. So you're definitely going to be able to purge whatever is in your way and to get over whatever challenges we see through these cards. The fish is your cover card, and this is great for money and business. And given the rest of the cards being supportive, it could be a really good sign for your money, your prosperity, your work, and your business. With the mountain and tree, you could be contemplating growth in a different location, or maybe connections online or in some other place. So you could be expanding, you could be pursuing a job or a project, and this is very helpful for you. Now, in case the mountain is an obstacle, like if it's aligning more with these cards, you might want to slow down and allow things to unfold. This also works well with the snake. So if we had a whip, or if we had a scythe, I would have suggested that you confront the situation in a more aggressive way. But because of the tree and the snake and these cards, the approach needs to be a bit softer. So don't worry about it too much. Do your work, do your inner work especially, and things are going to unfold. Now, the bear and mountain is another combination that suggests a foothold abroad, and so does the anchor and mountain. So we have all three cards that can suggest some kind of root or base in another location with the mountain. So this is quite exceptional. So I have to say that this is very likely to be a situation for you. And the lily is about your life path, how you live, where you live, your lifestyle. It's also associated with your work and career. So it's very likely, Scorpio, even though this is kind of specific, because there's so many recurring cards, it's very likely that you're contemplating a move, or you're contemplating a life in a different location, or in the very least creating and expanding into this location and connecting with it in some way or other. So this is very, very strong in your cards. Now, the fish with the heart and lily is beautiful. This is a lovely combination for success at work, in your career. You could also be on the right track and pursuing a very empowering direction that it likely has a strong financial element as well. It's also a message for you to do what you love and to also prioritize your finances. So sometimes people shy away from doing things that bring them more money, but you shouldn't. If it's going to improve your life and your security, and you know that it's right for you, then go for these things. The anchor, mountain, and rider may very well mean a trip. The rider is an active card, and like we said, the anchor and mountain is about being based in a different location. So this is very much a message of going places. Maybe you're going to explore, or maybe you're in contact with someone who could connect you and help you with this expansion. The bear, woman, and tree can suggest someone who is like a boss, or someone who has a strong influence, someone in a position of authority, or someone like that who can support you and influence your situation. The thing about the tree is that it's a slower card, and so maybe it takes a bit of time to connect with this person, or it takes a bit of time for her to come around, and overall the situation is unfolding. So again, this is another message not to be pushy, and don't get frustrated by how slow, or if things are not going as fast as you'd like. This could be part of these frustrations here. Now, the fish, anchor, and bear is lovely for money. This is great for wealth. The bear and fish is often a combination of someone really rich, like a millionaire or something. And with the anchor, it's great for security. So even if you're not at that level, it's fine. This is great for a sense of confidence and security. And I'm really seeing here, Scorpio, that you want to prioritize your finances. It's going to be good for you. The heart with the mountain and woman, the woman being on the other side of the mountain suggests that she's in that other location. She's probably the one you're in touch with. And the heart is quite lovely. It sounds like this is a good relationship. Even if things are moving more slowly, this is definitely helpful for your, for your progress and your opportunities. And the lily with the rider and tree is also lovely. This is on the more tangible side. So it sounds like you will be able to take some tangible steps towards your objectives, and it's progressing in the right direction. And the rider T crosses this middle row here. So it's tied to this trip or this communication that we see, and it's great for taking steps and making progress. So this is a really nice portrait, a very beautiful contrast to the challenging Astro Clock cards. It sounds like maybe the Astro Clock cards here were telling us that you were maybe dramatizing a situation, and then things happen that help lighten up this load. But if there is a genuine challenge like what we see in the Astro Clock cards, Scorpio, you can get busy with more important things in your life. You can also create very healthy boundaries, which are great with the anchor, bear, mountain, and tree. And you can also move away from anything toxic and find your peace and your space with your priorities. So don't be held back by doubt. Don't be held back by negativity or people who are trying to work against you. I think it's mostly envy, and it's important that you don't turn it into something bigger than it deserves to be. So make sure you have the right perspective on things, Scorpio. Reprioritize and focus on your well-being. And if it comes to people, appreciate that there are other good people in your life whom you can connect with and who could actually be part of this beautiful progress and expansion that we're seeing here. So really nice cards overall. I certainly look forward to your feedback about this, Scorpio, how this played out for you, what exactly was going on, if you were traveling and what these issues were. I'd be really interested to know. So very best of luck with December, Scorpio. And again, I want to thank you for being part of these readings. I hope you will continue to be. The astro clocks are coming out soon, so stay tuned. Again, very best of luck. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to December. Here we are at the end of the year. I hope you are looking forward to the change. Stay tuned to the astro clocks. They are coming out soon, and we're going to be turning the page into 2026. So welcome to December, Sagittarius. We have your astro clock cards for this month. We have the key, clouds, and mouse. So the clouds and mouse are a little bit challenging, but the key is precisely the card of problem solving. So it sounds like this month you're going to be focusing on solving problems, figuring out solutions, and also clearing the air, and probably also seeking to get to the bottom of something. Now, what this challenge is really flexible. It's really going to come down to your specific situation, but the idea and the key, quite literally, is to focus on the positive side and to focus on finding a solution. So we're going to put these cards aside, and we are going to draw your portrait to see what else we get about them, and also to see what else we get in your month. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your portrait, and it's a lot brighter than your astro clock cards. I have to say, though, that each of the clouds and mouse are not very dramatic or challenging cards. It's just that together they can muddy things up a little bit. But in your portrait, we see lots of bright cards, and it's really shining through the clover, and everything else is either neutral or positive. In the middle, we have the bird, and the bird is a card of conversations. We also have the woman, the garden, the house, and these cards tell us that you're going to be in contact with certain people. And this is probably going to be part of what enables you to achieve your goals and also to get the answers and solve the problems that you're seeking. The moon as your cover card is lovely. This is a soft and gentle card, Sagittarius. It encourages you to be open to ideas and also to be open to invitations. And when we see it with the bird and garden, it's very clear, Sagittarius, that you're going to be networking, communicating, and you're going to be putting yourself out there. So it's important that you forward yourself. And if you have been feeling shy or blocked from this, these cards are really encouraging you to go out there. Now, the house with the bird and mountain is possibly a trip. Maybe you have some people in another location, or you've got a meeting or some kind of event in another place. It doesn't have to be another country or anything like that. It could be just a little bit farther from where you are. And the mountain is sometimes a card of blockages, and this would be similar to what we see here. And so the conversation card, the bird, clearly encourages you, Sagittarius, to seek answers and to get past your blockages. The moon with the road and mountain can again suggest a trip, because the road and mountain both have this idea. So when they come together, it highlights it. And with the moon, you could be invited to do this, or perhaps you're exploring. Exploring is actually a good work. This is great for meeting people, networking, and being out there. The anchor with the bird and woman is clearly about a conversation with this person, and the anchor encourages you to have confidence. Again, there seems to be really this idea of moving forward with yourself, Sagittarius, like pushing yourself to be out there, to be in touch with people. And we see that there's a conversation with this woman here. The house with the clover and garden is lovely. This is a beautiful combination, mainly because of the clover. It's an all-around lucky card. So it could either be a chance encounter or the encounter itself goes well, or both. And the house and garden are both location cards. So clearly they bring out this idea of a positive meeting and a chance meeting, and clearly things go well with this person here. The woman with the anchor and house is also a sense of belonging. It's a sense of also having strong foundations. So it's clear that you're building on something, and this invitation and this opportunity go well. The road with the bird and clover, this T crosses the top row, and I have to say that the bird can sometimes be a card of travel, usually shorter travel. And we see it with the clover, which T crosses the bottom row. So you see how all of these lines connect together. And it's, again, a very positive suggestion for how the meeting goes, how the conversation goes, and how your trips go. And also how you move forward in general. So these are some very positive outcomes, and clearly that the conversation goes well. The mountain with the woman and garden, this is clearly a meeting with this person. So again, it's all coming together. You know, the lines are bringing out the same idea, and they're focusing on this conversation with this woman. T crosses this lines here. And again, we saw that it goes well. So this is all focused on connecting with someone or some people, Sagittarius, and it's encouraged. You could take a trip for it. It could bring out answers. It should. As we see with the Astro Clock cards, this is probably the goal. So if you want to solve these problems or get past these issues, you need to reach out. You need to be in touch, Sagittarius. You need to get together with certain people or a certain person to get the answers that you need. And this could mean that you travel, but maybe not. And also, Sagittarius, the cards are not specific in terms of context. My feeling is that it's not so much personal, that it's more on the projects, maybe work-related front. But even if it's about a personal relationship, it's still looking really promising. If you've been having issues with communicating with someone or trouble with some people, you know, having a conversation, reaching out and being in touch with them is going to solve it and move things forward. So very nice cards for being out there, for socializing, for connecting, going places. Really get yourself out of your zone, Sagittarius. Get out of your comfort zone, or maybe your stuckness, wherever you're at, and find answers, and you'll find that you get them. So this is a lovely way to wrap up the year. Again, Sagittarius, stay tuned for the Astro Clocks. They are coming out soon. And I want to thank you for being with me through this journey, and I hope you will continue to be. So thank you again. Very best of luck with the end of the year. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, welcome to your December forecast. Here we are at the end of the year, and this is so exciting because we're wrapping up 2025 and getting ready for 2026. The 2026 Astro Clocks are in the works, so stay tuned. We're going to go through the forecast again, and I hope you're going to be sticking with me for this. So today we are doing your December forecast, and we have your cards for December from your 2025 Astro Clock. The Sun, Clover, and Cross are very bright cards, and if you go back to your 2025 Astro Clock, you will see that this is a spot in the Astro Clock where you have these very bright cards. So the Sun and Clover are two of the brightest cards of the deck, and the Cross points to a couple of things. It can suggest that things are important and have depth, so really adding to the beauty of the Sun and Clover. And sometimes the Cross is a card of burdens and challenges, but I'm not really seeing that this is the aspect that comes through in this triplet, Capricorn. So there are important things materializing here. There could be big things happening, big achievements, and you could be in for a patch of good luck. So we're going to put these cards aside, and we're going to draw your portrait cards, see what else we get about these three, and also what else we get for your month. Okay, Capricorn, here is your portrait, and we have the beautiful sun and flowers, which align very much with the Sun and Clover. And we have a couple of challenging cards here and also your clouds, but it does point to changes more than anything else. So the challenges that come here are really insofar as making the change, which is an exciting change. But also, as we're going to see in the bottom row, this has to do with removing challenges from your way. So that is going to be exciting. Now, the clouds as your cover card can mean that you are spending a lot of time with your thoughts. You could be absorbed into your thoughts. You could also be going through stress and challenges, and you could be confused about certain things. And with the mountain, which is often a card of obstacles and blockages, there could be an issue that you are feeling stuck and you're not able to move forward, or you're not seeing how. Now, the scythe is really nice in this context because even though it is typically a card of challenge, it is great for breaking through obstacles. It is a sharp card that cuts through just about anything. And so with these cards, and especially with the scythe at the end of the line on the other side of the mountain, it clearly points to your ability to break free and to get past these obstacles. Now, the flowers, mountain, and letter is lovely because of the flowers. And with the letter, we could be looking at news from a place abroad or possibly online. And that's because the mountain is often associated with distant locations. Now, if the mountain is, again, this notion of obstacles, then still the flowers and letters are going to be supportive because they tell us that you are going to receive the news, even if it's been stuck for some time. And it's likely that this news comes from this other location. Now, the clouds with the stork and letter is also great because it tells us that you are going to get past the stuckness, the confusion, and you're going to be able to take action. So the letter could be coming to you, or perhaps you're communicating, but the idea is that you take action and you get unstuck. So this is really exciting. Now, the sun, mountain, and rider is also lovely. It points to traveling or vacation because the sun and mountain can suggest that. And the rider by itself is also a card of movement and sometimes travel. So these are really good cards for going somewhere. And again, Capricorn, if you were feeling stuck, just like what we saw with the second diagonal, if you were feeling stuck, there's definitely things move forward now, and you have the green light, and you're able to get past these obstacles. Now, the flowers with the mouse and scythe, this is quite interesting because the scythe really helps cuts away at the mouse. The mouse is often a card of losses, annoyances, things that are causing you to feel negative and things like that. They could also be things like time wasters and these issues that eat away at your energy. And the scythe is really good at removing this. So with the flowers being a bright card, it's going to be key, Capricorn, for you to get out of the way what is annoying you, what is draining at your energy, and what is distracting you, so that you can focus on the news, the changes, the trips, and all of this lovely activity that we're seeing here. The changes can also be an opportunity for you to make another change that is not in agreement with you. So, for example, if this is about a job, you could get an opportunity that helps you move past a current stuck situation. If this is about a project, you could get out of your rut and move into an exciting piece of venture here. So depending on your context, it could play out in these ways. Now, the clouds with the sun and flowers is beautiful to get past any negativity, any confusion, and any stuckness. Like we saw, these are the two cards that align very well with your astro clock cards, and they are also the brightest cards of your portrait. So this is a very exciting message that brings you hope and optimism and really empowers you to move past any doubts or confusions you've been going through. Now, the stork with the mountain and mouse, here we could be looking at some challenges, some obstacles that get in your way. Again, maybe these changes that you go through this month, they have a few obstacles. There's a few speed bumps in your way. But just like we saw in the bottom row, and the mouse T crosses with the bottom row, you're going to be able to get them out of the way. And in fact, Capricorn, the scythe really encourages you to be sharp and tough with this. So don't compromise. Be strict about what is allowed into your time and what is not. The letter with the rider and scythe is a clear contact and communication combination here. This is a combination of the messenger. You get the news, you get the feedback, and the scythe clearly points to change, especially with the rider, which can point to a change of direction. So this news gives you the green light to make a change. It could also happen suddenly. Maybe you're not prepared for this, Capricorn, but It's definitely well starred, and it's definitely supported, especially by these Astro Clock cards. So these are lovely cards, Capricorn, that bring good news, change, and exciting events happening. It can also suggest a trip or going places. You also want to get out of any stuck mindset or stuck situation, and you have very much an opportunity to do this month, Capricorn. So don't miss your chance to get the stuff out of the way and to move ahead and to enjoy the opportunities that are coming. Now, I have to say, Capricorn, that the cards are really neutral in terms of context. We're not seeing work cards, money cards, people cards. We're not seeing any of these theme cards. We're seeing a dynamic. If anything, we're seeing a bit of a travel element here, but it doesn't have to apply in this way. So this can apply in any context, and the same dynamic applies. You want to be ready for this. If you're not ready, it's okay, Capricorn. You're going to adjust. It might be a bit of an adjustment, but you're going to be well on your way towards these changes. So very exciting cards, very nice cards to wrap up the year with. Let me know what you make of them, how you resonated with them. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and your feedback. So very best of luck with this, Capricorn. Thank you for tuning in. And again, the Astro Clocks are in the works. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being with me through this journey, and I hope you will continue to do so. Stay tuned for the 2026 forecast. Thank you again, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, welcome to your December forecast. Here we are at the end of the year already. Every time this happens, it is such an exciting feeling, and I hope you feel the same. So stay tuned for the 2026 Astro Clocks. They are in the works, and we'll be taking up the forecast from there, as we do every year, as we have for several years so far. So welcome again, Aquarius, to December. These are your December cards from your 2025 Astro Clock, and you might like to go back and have a look at it, because it's always nice to get this overview at the end of the year. So the star is a very bright card. It is a wish fulfillment and all-around healing card. It is one of the best of the deck. And earlier we have the letter and clouds, which without the star would have been some challenging news, or news that confuses, or news that is not what you were hoping for, and it sort of muddies things up. And that could be the case. But the star is definitely here to shine its light and to turn things around. So if things are not clear at the beginning, if the news doesn't come across as, as hopeful and as positive as you were hoping it would be, I would say, Aquarius, give it a bit of time, because things could turn around. So we're going to put these cards aside, and we're going to see what this news is about, if it shows through, and what else we get about these cards, and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Aquarius, here is your portrait, and we're seeing the news cards, but we're not seeing the bright cards. Instead, we're seeing a couple of challenging cards here, the fox and snake, and they align pretty well with the clouds. So we're seeing what is underlying the potentially challenging message here from the letter and clouds. We also have the person, people element coming through clearly in here. We have the dog and man. They are both people cards. And it sounds like there's something positive that's going to materialize with this person, especially since it is on the right-hand side along with the star. Now, the book is your cover card, and the book is a card of silence and mystery. And this certainly aligns with the letter and clouds, because the clouds is a card of thoughts. So perhaps you are not really vocalizing things just yet. And also, Aquarius, you want to wait until you hear back from this person. Now, the book with the snake and man is very clear in this regard, because the snake is also a silent card. Now, it is a challenging card. It does point to toxic people in general. But with the book, this element of silence and secrecy, and in alignment with the letter and clouds here, there is a very clear message that you don't want to follow up. You want to let this person come through, or the news to come back on its own. The fox with the snake and tower, this is quite a tricky pair, especially the fox and snake, because they sort of add to each other. They're the same. They sort of enhance each other's energies, and they're both kind of deceptive, but they're also tactful and discreet. So we're seeing a very clear message that you want to be very discreet, avoid pushing anything. I would say avoid following up altogether, but of course, I can't really know what exactly is happening with you in your specific situation, but the fox and snake definitely call for discretion and to avoid being pushy in any way. Now, the Tower can represent a couple of things. It could be that this is a long-term situation and you need to be patient a while longer. But as we saw, things come through. So the Star is really like the silver lining. And the Tower can represent an environment, usually corporate business environments, legal, administrative offices, places like that. There's like an official undertone when it comes to the Tower. So there could be things going on behind the scenes with management, with whoever, and you want to keep your ear to the ground, but certainly avoid being indiscreet in any way. We have a clear message about this. And also, Aquarius, you need to be patient until things change or until the news comes through. Now, it does come through. So here with the book, letter, and Tower, this is a powerful message because the book and letter point to some important news, usually very important news, and that comes pretty quickly. So the element of speed is sometimes associated with the book and letter. Now, yes, the Tower can temper that, slow things down a little bit, but it also points to this official kind of communication. So it does come through. Now, I want to read the T cross right away instead of going through the rows first. The letter T crosses with the middle column, and we see that there's a snake and fish. Now, I have to say, Aquarius, I like this pair. I like to see the snake with money cards and also the fox with money cards because they point to someone who is clever, they point to advantage, and they also point to your ability to turn things around in your best interest. So it looks like you could be in for an agreement or something that really advantages you on the money front, the work front, or the business front. And that's aligned with the Star. Now, the bird, snake, and dog is another challenging, careful, cautious kind of message. Just like what we saw with the second diagonal, we're seeing the bird and snake point to the element of discretion and diplomacy. The bird can be a little bit all over the place and it's prone to being nervous and anxious, but you certainly don't want to be that way, Aquarius. The snake and dog points to someone who's pretty toxic and someone who could be playing against you. So we saw the dog and man, there could be a couple of people or it could be the same person. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, Aquarius, but you certainly want to switch on your radar to what could be going on behind the scenes without being reactive in any way. So this could be about gossip. This could be about you being aware of something's going on. And it could also be about you staying away from someone who is not so great and also not sharing with them what you're up to. The fox with the fish and man is great for work and jobs. The fox is often a card of work. It is a deceptive, difficult card like the snake. It's not as toxic as the snake. It has a more practical side, and it is often the card of jobs. So when we see it with the fish, it's great for work. So again, this is tying into these three lines here. So the top, the middle, and the bottom, and they're clearly pointing to a job opportunity, a project, or some kind of income opportunity, or something practical, Aquarius, and it certainly aligns with the Star. So that's great news. And it sounds like this person could be the one you collaborate with or who is, part of this opportunity. Now, the book with the bird and fox, again, we're seeing this element of discretion. And, it T-crosses the middle row, which is going to T-cross the right column. You definitely want to temper how you speak, what you say, to who you say it. And I would say if you're in doubt, Aquarius, just, shut up. Don't say anything if you're in doubt. Just keep it quiet. It's better that if you're not sure or if the energy feels a bit tense, that you just maintain this cool front. So we see this here. But also, this could be the news element. So just like we have the book and letter, the bird is also a news card. So these two are similar, same dynamic here. And the fox is a card of work and job. So again, there could be this opportunity to collaborate that comes up. There is going to be an opportunity to discuss and probably also negotiate. But again, Aquarius, I really want to emphasize that you don't want to be pushy in any way. And I don't really know why, to be honest with you, but that's what the cards are saying. So you tell me why. Maybe in your specific situation, the situation is quite sensitive or, certain people are such and such. I don't know. You let me know. And the Tower with the dog and man, like we saw a few times, this could be the collaboration itself. The dog could represent you. It doesn't have to be the same person. And there is possibly that meeting or that agreement or something official materializing here. So this is really good news. Now, as you can see, your portrait is a lot more muted than your Astro Clock cards. Because of the star, which makes everything bright, your Astro Clock cards are, they're bright, they're shiny. We don't see this in your portrait. Instead, what we're seeing in the portrait is the you getting there, the process, the underlying stuff that's going on in order for this star to shine and to come through. And so this means, to me, Aquarius, that the path to this is very critical, and that if you're not careful, if you're not discreet, if you're not diplomatic and patient and all of that good stuff, you could sabotage it. So we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to sabotage any opportunities. So really focus on the process and really focus on your sense of discretion and patience. And also be aware and alert to what's going on, like keeping your ears to the ground, but without showing at all, so again, discretion is really key. And also the cards seem to be focused on work and money and business and projects because of the fox and fish together, and also because of a general absence of warm cards. So we're not really seeing personal relationships, friendships, and all of that. It seems to be focused really on your work and your projects, your colleagues, or, this, whatever environment is relevant to you in this context. So I hope this opportunity works out. Again, Aquarius, really focus on the process and your discretion and your sense of patience, and hopefully it materializes. I look forward to your update. I'm really interested in how you resonated with these cards. They're kind of interesting, an interesting mix here between the Astro Clock and the portrait. So I'd love your feedback. So very best of luck with this, Aquarius. Very best of luck with wrapping up the year. Again, thank you for being with me on this journey. I hope you will continue to be. Like I said, the Astro Clocks are in the works. Stay tuned for them. So thank you again. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, welcome to December. Here we are at the end of the year. I hope you're excited about the turn of the year. I always am. And the 2026 Astro Clocks are in the works, so stay tuned for this. So welcome to December, Pisces. We have your cards from December from your 2025 Astro Clock, and we've got the Cross, Mountain, and Snake. Now, this is quite a tricky triplet, and if you go back to your 2025 Astro Clock, Pisces, you will see that this was a focus for this somewhat tricky energy. So the Cross and Mountain can be a very important chapter that you're moving into, and the Snake is calm and cautious, so this could be a slow transition, and it is also a quiet transition. That's because the Snake is a card of silence and secrecy, and at the same time, Pisces, the Snake is often a card of deception. Now, we're not seeing people cards where this tends to come out most, but it is a card that's going to call for you to be alert and aware. And because of the Mountain next to it, you may need to get around an obstacle, even someone's back. Just putting it out there. And also, it could be someone who's trying to get around you or to get around your back or do things like that. Certainly with the Cross and the Snake itself, you're going to have the insight and the foresight and the alertness to get a sense of what is going on. So a very interesting triplet, a very interesting energy for the end of the year. We're going to put these cards aside and draw your portrait, see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Pisces, here is your portrait, and it is a bit tricky as well. We have the fox right in the middle. The fox shares quite a few elements with the snake. They're both kind of deceptive, the snake more so. The fox is also calm and quiet, and they're both smart and clever, and they know what they want and how to get it. And what stands out, Pisces, is the travel element. We have the ship as your cover card, we have the rider and the road, and actually the mountain is also a travel card. So this could be about a move abroad or a change. It could be going somewhere and exploring. So the ship here suggests that you are adventurous, definitely encourages you to move ahead and to take steps forward towards your projects. And if you're traveling, then this is a good time for it as well, even though there are a few challenging elements here. The fox and mouse is tricky and a bit negative. This can point to losses or difficulties. It could also be something about being cheated or being scammed. So be alert. And also, Pisces, it's going to be important for you to not waste time, not waste resources, and to be focused and to stay really zoomed in on your objectives. And this trip or this transition, it could be a bit tricky, so be prepared for adjusting. Now, the Sun, Fox, and Road is very positive. And even though we have the Fox in here, with the Sun, it brings out a different aspect of the Fox. Clearly, this is a wonderful adventure. Some beautiful options here open up, and you could be making choices. You know, we also have the Cross and Mountain and Snake here. It could be about assessing things and making choices. And an additional thing about the Fox, Pisces, is that it can represent work or jobs. So you could be, in fact, moving into a job or having some kind of work opportunity in some way or other. Now, the ship with the clouds and road is sort of similar. We have both the ship and road, and both of them are travel cards, or it can apply. And the clouds suggest there's something bumpy here. So again, the trip, the transition, or the progress that you're going through or you're making has some challenges. You also want to clarify your direction, Pisces. It's going to be important for you to make up your mind about certain things. You could have a lot on your plate. That's my feeling. And it's important to be clear about everything. Now, the road with the fox and ring, these are also good cards for progress and probably progress at work. You could also be making some good connections. The fox is not the sweetest of people, obviously, but it can point to people like customers, colleagues, people who work for you, tax accountants, agents, people like that. So you could be connecting with such people. And it could also be about you engaging in a job or a project. Now, the sun with the woman and mouse is lovely. This is a very helpful relationship. I appreciate that the mouse is on the other side of the woman, so it can mean that things sour a little bit, or maybe there are issues with her despite a happy beginning. But it can also be someone who supports you with solving problems and helping you move past the transition period and to move ahead in these exciting projects. So I would say, maintain as much of an optimistic mindset as possible, Pisces, to move ahead, and also collaborate, even if not everyone's perfect. Just be open to what they offer. And of course, remember to stay alert all throughout. Now, the ship, rider, and sun is very beautiful. This is great for a trip, for traveling. And again, you could be going places. It's also lovely for moving ahead with your projects. It sounds like there's quite a bit of success. The clouds with the fox and woman, again, this is tying into this people element. So your projects are doing great. I'm not so sure about people. People are a bit trickier this month. Your projects, your energy, all good, but the people side a little bit difficult. So just stay tuned for that. The clouds with the fox clearly suggest that this person is not transparent, and there could be ulterior motives and maybe other intentions that are not expressed. But I think you're going to pick up everything. I'm not saying you do anything about it in like an outward way, but it's important for you to be aware and maintain your discretion. And we saw that this line, we saw the bottom row, and this line T crosses at the woman. So I think your optimistic attitude is going to shine a light on all of this, and also it's not going to bog you down in any way. But again, Pisces, it's really important for you to stay tuned, to get a feel for the energies, to get a feel for how this person is feeling and how things are around you. And the road with the ring and mouse suggests that you are going to be involved in something. And this is likely what everything you're doing here is tying into it. These projects, this progress, this job, this opportunity or collaboration. But it's not without struggles. Let's be clear. We have the mouse here. We have the fox. We have the clouds. We have quite a few cards. And also the astro clock cards contribute to this. We have quite a few cards that suggest it could be a struggle. Now, I'm not saying this is a deterrent. I'm not saying this is not going to lead to success. I'm saying the transition is a bit challenging, and you want to expect that there's going to be maybe some differences, some challenges, bumps here and there, things come up to slow you down, things that were on plan. You know, all sorts of possibilities are on the table in terms of the little issues that come up to affect the smoothness of the path ahead. But I do think you pursue this. So there's lots of rewards on the back of this, lots of success thanks to the sun. And also, it's tying into a significant chapter. So the cross and mountain can usually suggest an important chapter that you're moving into. And it's a bit of the transition is not so easy, but you're definitely on the right track. This is definitely aligned with you, and it can lead to success. You can see the successes within the month. So it's really about staying focused through the noise, through the adjustments, and through the transition. I hope this makes sense, but you let me know in the comments how you resonate with this. So overall, Pisces, this is exciting. There are changes, travels, but with that comes quite a lot of adjustments and also a few challenges and issues here and there. While your direction is lovely, your excitement is up, your enthusiasm is there, and you could be at the brink of an important new chapter, an important change in your life, I do think, Pisces, you want to stay focused on what could be going on behind the scenes, especially when it comes to other people. And also temper your expectations from others, and expect that as you make this change and embrace this important new chapter, the adjustment period might not be as smooth or straightforward or even what you expect altogether. Now, in terms of context, like I said, this could be about jobs because we have the fox in the middle. It's flexible, though. It can be about essentially anything. But the idea is the same. It's just that if it were to be about a specific relationship, the cards can be a little bit different, because negative cards in relationships like this, you know, they're not always just a transition. They could be, but they're not always. And we also have the snake, which can be quite difficult in relationships. So in terms of personal relationships, Pisces, I would say that you might move on, although you could maintain it in a certain way. But we're not seeing like breakups and divorce cards and these sorts of sharp cards. We're not seeing that, but we are seeing a muddied energy when it comes to people, and the snake is not great when it comes to people. So in this context, I want to suggest that you move on, maintain the relationship in whatever way makes sense to you, move on, but also work on detaching. And also in parallel, all of these exciting things could be happening for you, like the trip and the projects and the changes and this new chapter. So maybe the relationship aspect and the other parts of your life are working together in a specific way for you. You let me know. I'm just trying to map out all of the scenarios so that it's clear for you. So I just want to suggest that in terms of your mindset, your priority is your path and these exciting projects that are unfolding. And if people are in the way, or if there's a person element in your cards, I think this is gonna change priorities. So you're going to maintain the relationship in whatever way makes sense for you, but also prepare to, refocus, adjust your focus on the more exciting things in your life. So let me know what you make of these ideas. I hope they resonate with you. It's quite a lot, I have to say, for the end of the year. So this could be quite a handful. Let me know how it plays out. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. So very best of luck with this, Pisces, and very best of luck with the end of the year. I want to say thank you for being with me throughout, and I hope you will continue to for the upcoming forecasts. Again, the 2026 astro clocks are in the works, so I hope you will stay tuned for these. Thank you very much again, Pisces. Very best of luck. And again, until next time, take very good care of yourself.